All right, what's up? We are live. We already went through all of our rankings this week, Zach. All
Yeah.
right, so all those rankings are up right now on patreon.com/upperhandfantasy. Go check it out there if you're still wondering who to start for your semifinals, week 16, big week. What a weird game last night, and it's
Boring.
almost like it was boring. I had Travis Etienne going, decent game. I was hoping, and I was going up against Trevor Lawrence. So, that touchdown that Lawrence scored at the goal line, it was like Etienne got a few carries. He was almost there at the goal line, and of course, on third down, it was setting up a Trevor Lawrence touchdown. Of
Right.
course, of course. Without that touchdown, Lawrence would have had a bad game,
Yeah.
fantasy game. What's up, Tejas? Thanks for joining. Thanks for everyone for joining. We're gonna get into some questions today. Bunch of start sit questions, any sort of questions that you have going into week 16. Let's get it. We're going to go over some underdog stuff as well. We're going to do some drafts, and we're going to, there's a whole lot of stuff. But before we do that, let's just hit this Jets game real quick. So this seems to be the end of Zach Wilson, right? And it was a nationally televised game.
Yeah.
It looks like he was extremely nervous. He didn't know what to do with the ball. Like, he would drop back, he didn't know where to throw it. He would get sacked, or he would just throw the ball up, like a jump ball for Garrett Wilson, right?
Yeah.
And it was sad to watch, man. It was sad to watch. You just feel bad for the kid because, he's just not made for it. He's just not made for the NFL. Like, you can kind of tell. So, what were your thoughts on Zach Wilson last night? Is this the last we've seen of him in a starting capacity?
So what Robert Saleh said after the game was that this isn't the last that we've seen of him. He didn't say on this team. I think they might be getting ready to move on from him. I
Yeah.
think, honestly, as hard as we can be on Zach Wilson, he hasn't played up to an NFL standard at all. He was still a first round pick. He looked really good at college. I kind of think maybe he deserves another shot somewhere else. This kind of reminds me of like a Baker Mayfield situation where he was put into a crappy position. But now it's to the point where the Jets offense, the fans, the team, everything around the Jets, he's being treated in a hostile way at this point. And I think that definitely, comes into play when you're on the field there, playing for your job pretty much. Everyone's hostile against, I wasn't surprised to see him struggle, but I think part of that is also psychological, the fact that he knows, he's not wanted. They put Chris Trevler in, and the crowd was uproarious. They were just cheering every single play. It was a 5-yard pass play to Elijah Moore, and the crowd was screaming. It's like, at this point, they're so detached from Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson probably just feels alienated. I think if he goes somewhere else, he might have a chance to turn it around, but he's not going to be going anywhere and starting. I think a team would be best suited to, sign him in backup fashion. And then if he gets another shot, that would be determinant on whether a player ahead of him would get injured or something would happen. Otherwise, it would put him into a starting role again. Right now, he doesn't look like a starting quarterback in the NFL. No, he's very far from it. And the offense was just bad. For fantasy, that was disgusting. It was terrible. Michael Carter got a couple of targets. That was about it from this game, for the Jets. But with Zach Wilson, I think his time in New York is done. I don't think he's done as a NFL player, but his time in New York, it's over. If it
I
wasn't
think
already
so.
a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's crazy, man. Like, this just kills the entire offense. Zonovan Knight,
Yeah.
negative rushing yards on this game. Garrett Wilson, if you started him, you are in a hole right now.
Yeah.
If Mike White didn't get hurt, we would be looking at a completely different game. The Jets could have won this game at home.
They could have won this
And
game anyway. When your defense only allows 19 points, you should be winning that game.
and I don't even think the defense would have allowed 19 points if the offense wasn't so bad, right? If the
Right.
offense could sustain some drives, if the offense wasn't, man, it's one of those things. And it's funny because, like, Trevor Lawrence on the first drive of the game, he fumbled. The Jets were in Jaguars territory.
Yeah.
And they couldn't come up with a touchdown. That was their only 3 points of the game because the Jaguars handed it to them, right? So
Yeah.
it was a rough game. If you have Garrett Wilson, just like I think we had a comment here. Tejas was going up against Garrett Wilson. He's playing the number 1 seed this week. And he played Garrett Wilson, and he's now a current 20-point favorite. So that's awesome, right?
Yeah.
And he's saying that the New York, New Jersey market isn't for every athlete. And I guess it's true, But I don't know, man. Like, would Zach Wilson be doing well in another market? I don't know. Like, he
I
just
know he wouldn't be doing well in Philly. I know that.
oh
I think
hell no. Well,
Philly's more
that's
hostile
another
than New
market.
York. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's another market that's brutal, right? Like,
Look
but
what it did to Carson Wentz. Yeah, same
what if he was
situation.
in Jacksonville, or what if he was in smaller market?
Yeah,
Maybe he would do well. I don't know. But you know, anyway, if you have Garrett Wilson, that sucks. Hopefully, some of your other players can pull through, and get it done for you. All right.
right.
Um, what else in this game? If you started him, if you started Zonovan Knight, that was brutal.
Yeah. Hey,
Listen, if you ended up starting Trevor Lawrence, like I would be happy with this game. Like 18
yeah.
points in a 4-point passing touchdown. He didn't throw any touchdowns, right? Did he?
No. No,
No, he
no
didn't. So
touchdowns through the air, but he did have that rushing touchdown. And he also had 50 yards on the ground, so that's 11 points right there. It was a modest
Mhm.
performance in the air. So
that
229
was
yards it's gonna net you like what? 9 not 9 points. Like I don't know. My math is bad, off the
what are you
cuff.
talking
But
about? What'd you say?
just 229 passing yards is what? Like 8 points
That's like
on its
12.
own?
That's like yeah, that's like 8 points. That's like 8-9 points. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then he had the rushing touchdown, and then he had the rushing yards.
Mhm.
That rushing prop on Underdog, that was too easy, man.
Yeah, I
Too
know. I
easy.
saw that one.
Like 15, it was, what was it, like 13, 14 yards or something like that?
Yeah, I think it
Rushing,
was
like, for Trevor
15,
Lawrence?
something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
15. Too
But
easy. I think he broke that in the first quarter.
yeah, speaking of that, predicting the future, Faraz Stradamus, you were here. We talked about Zay Jones, about not starting him this week after that huge performance. He's been on such a tear. He had 2 points, 1 catch, 14
Yeah.
yards. Like, how about that?
Yeah, dude. Like,
that was a good call out. We knew this was gonna be a tough matchup, especially with the weather. I wasn't expecting a 2-point performance, though. Definitely, if you listen to us and you kept them out of your lineup, you're happy right now.
yeah, hopefully you didn't start Zay Jones yesterday. I mean, that
Yeah.
was, I don't know. I felt that was an easy one,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you don't want to bench your studs, right? But you can't label Zay Jones a stud, even though he's been getting it done. Now, what's the difference between someone like him and Amon-Ra St. Brown last year? The difference is that Zay Jones has been in the league for like 4 or 5 years now, right?
Right.
Opposed to Amon-Ra, somebody who's coming on as a rookie and doing what he did as a rookie. That's a completely different situation. That's a situation where you just keep riding it out, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't know who he was, and like all of a sudden he's just killing it, and you're like, oh, this guy's legit. But Zay Jones has been in this league for a long time. We talked about it early in the year where Zay Jones was this very, very good player against man coverage. But the Jets do play a lot of man. But when you talk about Sauce and DJ Reed, like they're just not going to let you, do much. And DJ Reed was really, on his A game, last night, in terms of like shutting guys down, because like we talked about over text, right?
Yeah.
Like DJ Reed was somebody who, he's pissed. He's pissed that he didn't make the Pro Bowl, that he's just an alternate.
And it's not just him. It's you. You were tilting a little bit. It was pretty funny.
I was upset. I was just like, you gotta
I
be kidding
agree.
me. Xavier Howard himself,
yeah.
Xavier Howard himself said, that he didn't deserve it. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway. But yeah, Travis Etienne had a good game. He had like he had like 19 rushing attempts or something like that in the first half.
Yeah.
Insane, dude. Like it was something like that. And so I figured that, okay, second half he's gonna get another 10. He'll probably end the game with 30 touches. No. They came into the second half. They were already up. They felt like they were already won that game. So they started bringing in the other running backs. They even brought in Snoop Connor in the second half to start, milking the clock away and all that. So, it is what it is. It could have been a bigger game if he scored that touchdown instead of Trevor Lawrence. But those touchdowns are coming for Travis Etienne. So keep starting him, going. And next week, assuming he's healthy. By the way, I think he got his like shoulder popped in or something like that. I don't know, did it get dislocated or something? Because early in the game, right at the start of the game, he went over to the sideline and something was up with his shoulder. He came back in the game, but just monitor that a little bit. I think he's fine because obviously he played the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But he was, coming in and out a little bit more than you'd expect. Next week against the Texans, oh boy. If you're able to make it through this week into championship week, Travis Etienne against the Texans next week is going to be amazing to watch.
Yeah. Especially with the way the offense is playing as a whole. If
Etienne is, didn't do his thing for you over the last several weeks, right? Like he's been a little quiet, right? This week, if you're playing a PPR league, very solid performance. But if he can come through, you make it to the championship with him next week and you start him, I think he can make up for all of that
Yeah.
in that one game.
He could redeem himself in that way. Yeah.
I think so.
Obviously, he's doing you no good if you're not in the championship at this point, and there's a real chance because he hasn't topped 15 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, including a bye in between. So it's technically 7. You haven't gotten that usage and production out of him recently. So hopefully you made it despite Travis Etienne, because that's what it's going to be if you did.
Yeah, I was going up against Christian Kirk and Trevor Lawrence yesterday, so I feel relatively okay going into Saturday.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some questions before we get into some underdog drafts. We're gonna do an underdog draft today, a battle royale. Okay, battle royale. You basically every single week on Underdog you can draft a team. It's a 6-player team. 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, and 1 tight end. Where you just battle it out with a whole bunch of other people. It's a tournament. It's tournament style. So basically, as you put in your lineup, you'll be matching up against a whole bunch of people. Zach, what are the prizes looking like here? The prize $200,000 in prizes, $5 entry to get in. You can put in multiple entries if you wanted to. So put in some entries for tomorrow's games.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's $225,000.
This week apparently is 200 because I think the reason for that is because it's a smaller slate. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's it's 200,000 today for tomorrow's game for the week 16 main slate. So take a look at that on Underdog. Use the code UnderhandPod to double your first deposit up to $100. Let's get into some questions, dog. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Andres Contreras is asking, "What's up? Second flex, full PPR. By the way, if you're bored with your fantasy league, adding a second flex makes such a big difference to the amount of fun that you have. Like remove a kicker, remove a defense, add the second flex. It's amazing. But anyway, so I need upside because my opponent has Derrick Henry against the Texans. Okay. Rashad White, Robinson. Who's Robinson again? I don't know why
I can think of James Robinson. I can think of Allen Robinson. I can think of, but you're not gonna have to start Allen Robinson.
Why are we
we're blanking
here?
Yeah.
Can someone help us out in the comments?
DeMarcus Robinson.
I didn't get that much sleep last night. I think that's the problem.
Do you think maybe DeMarcus Robinson? I think that could be.
Probably. I'm guessing it's DeMarcus Robinson.
All right, we'll move forward with that unless we get clarity here. Yeah.
Robinson, Chris Moore, DeMarcus Robinson. Thanks, Andres. Yes. Brian Robinson. That's another one. Thanks, Mike. On the our producer, Brian Robinson. Thank you. He got some sleep last night. It seems like, but it is DeMarcus Robinson. So Rashad White, DeMarcus Robinson, Chris Moore, or Treylon Burks. Now, I'm not starting Treylon Burks because Ryan Tannehill's not there. That passing offense is going to be a big 0.
Yeah,
I think, right? I don't think Malik Wilson is going to be able to get it done. Chris Moore would be my choice if Brandon Cooks does not play. It doesn't look like Nico Collins is going to play. If Brandon Cooks is out, he did get some full practices in, but he's still listed as questionable. So, and I don't know what's going on there. It's one of those situations where DJ Duvernay could have been Wandale Robinson to sad face. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, no, I think I'll go Chris Moore if no Brandon Cooks. If Brandon Cooks does play, I will probably go with Rashad White.
I think he's the only upside play at this point. And it's funny we're picking a guy that's on the Texans as the upside play for this week. But with Rashad White, his upside has been capped big time. We haven't seen him do his thing in a couple of weeks. Robinson, it doesn't look like Lamar Jackson's playing, right? I don't think he's going to play because he didn't get a practice yesterday. So I'm assuming that quarterback situation is going to be messed up for Baltimore. I'm not even thinking about DeMarcus Robinson and Treylon Burks, like you said. With Malik Willis at quarterback, this passing game is going to be non-existent. So yeah, I would go with Chris Moore here. Not because I love Chris Moore, but because I don't like any of the other guys.
I can understand going behind DeMarcus Robinson just because he's been getting the targets and the receptions, and he's like a high floor type of player. But I think White has a little bit more upside. So I think the floor is similar, but I think a little bit more upside for White in a pretty good matchup against the Cardinals. So I'll go Rashad on this one. If Brandon Cooks does in fact play. Anderson Rodriguez, appreciate the super chat, buddy. PPR, Taysom Hill, Fant, Isaiah Likely, Okonkwo. Again, probably not going Okonkwo because of that. I don't trust that passing offense with Malik Willis. I can't go Isaiah Likely because Mark Andrews is going to play. Between Noah Fant and Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill, we have a hypothesis that Taysom Hill will be part of this game plan because of the weather conditions. But Noah Fant is likely to play. He didn't practice until yesterday. He got a limited practice in. He's scheduled to play against the Chiefs. No Tyler Lockett. I think I'm going Noah Fant.
Yeah. I'm leaning Noah Fant. If you want more security in terms of production, I think Taysom Hill is going to be just fine, But I think Noah Fant in a good matchup against the Chiefs, it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think he can steal a touchdown in this game, and that's really all you can ask for from a tight end. Taysom Hill, though, I think he has higher upside, but also a much lower floor because sometimes he's involved and then sometimes he's not. Where Noah Fant, he's been, consistently involved in the offense. His production hasn't been fantastic, but neither has any tight ends this season. So I think you could get away with Fant. If you want to be safe, go with Fant. If you want the upside, go for Taysom Hill. Me personally, if I had to pick, I might actually go Taysom Hill just because I'm going to ride that hypothesis that we have because, the weather's going to be bad. You have to figure he's going to be featured more ways than one in this game, especially the ground game where, he's liable to take it's funny because he's liable to take a carry to the house anytime. We've seen it happen a couple of times. He vultures touchdowns from Alvin Kamara, much to their chagrin.
Tejas is asking, how come y'all like Watson this week? Tempted to start Juju. Looks like a shootout in that game. Question, Zach. What do you think has a higher chance of a shootout? Dolphins, Packers, or Chiefs, Seahawks?
This is really tough because these are the two highest totals, I think, in terms of over-under for points scored, this week. If I had to pick, I think Packers-Dolphins would have a higher shot of being a shootout. I think both will be a shootout.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think Dolphins-Packers as well.
Yeah. Just because of the playmakers on offense for the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're in Miami. I'm assuming it's going to be decent weather where it's going to be a little bit cold, I think, in Kansas City. I don't think the wind is supposed to be that bad, but I think it's going to be a little bit cold. Not that the weather is such a huge factor, but I think that Christian Watson has a better chance, dominating target share, scoring touchdowns, than maybe Juju. But I did make my bold prediction yesterday that Juju might have 2 touchdowns. So I'm not sure. I think I would start, if in a vacuum, I would start Watson. I think Juju has nice upside, though, in this matchup because of the game script that we're anticipating.
Tejas, are we forgetting what Christian Watson is capable of? Like, are we forgetting after one game of not scoring a touchdown? Like, are we forgetting what's up? This is a great matchup, shootout potential, high over under. The Rodgers are going to have to throw the ball. Just one game sample size. Let's not forget about Watson here. We've seen what his upside was coming into last week. Since he was a full-time starter, he was the overall wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
Since becoming, since coming back and started doing his thing. So, yeah, that's why we like Watson this week. And it's a good matchup. I think Juju's a great start.
Yeah.
I just think he doesn't have the type of upside that Watson has.
Right. When I first saw that question, I was like, we never said we like Deshaun Watson this week. I mean, look at the weather for that game. I was like, there's no way. Like, don't be putting words in my mouth. Then I realized Christian Watson. Yeah, that's true. Because I was looking at it, I was like, Deshaun Watson, we specifically said, you don't really want to start this week.
It's funny because like we couldn't even figure out what Robinsons there are in the league. Like all we think about is like Wandale and Allen. And
please include
Brian
a first
Robinson.
initial on your questions.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Appreciate the question, Tejas. As always, you're here all the time. Love you, man. Nick Bentley's asking Daniel Jones or Brock Purdy this week. I think I'm going Daniel Jones here against Minnesota. I think Brock Purdy has been a somebody who in his circumstances has done a really good job. But at the same time, like I think Daniel Jones has a better matchup this week. I think he has some rushing ability, higher floor. Brock Purdy, he'll be fine. But he has to throw a couple touchdowns for him to get it done. So I lean Daniel Jones in this matchup against Minnesota.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at as far as making the decision here is going to be the matchup. Brock Purdy, he's been efficient, but Washington's defense has come on a little bit in terms of defending, quarterbacks in fantasy in terms of points scored. I think they're allowing the 6th least over the last 4 weeks, fantasy points to the quarterback. So I think maybe I would temper expectations for Brock Purdy this week. Daniel Jones, we know he has that rushing ability. That's going to give him a solid floor. And against a bad Vikings defense, in terms of allowing points to receivers, I know the receiving core isn't stacked, but it seems like pretty much anybody can get it done at this point against the Vikings. So I wouldn't be shying away from Daniel Jones. I'm not a huge fan of him as a player, but in terms of fantasy production this week, all signs seem to be pointing up. So I think you can be confident at the least having him in your lineup as a flex play, as a floor play this week.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, it's funny, like he doesn't have like this amazing wide receiver court, but we've seen all of them do things at times, right? Like Hodgins, like he has a really good matchup. He could do his thing. You have Darius Slayton, right? Like he can have a good game. Richie James can have a good so these guys, you never know who's going to get it done, but like he has guys that are there, and Saquon obviously coming out the backfield, so he'll be fine, and he has the rushing ability. So I'm not too worried. Solid high floor player. Michael Cessna is asking Higgins, D Hop, Pittman, start 2, please. This is an interesting one because the answer would normally be Higgins and D Hop pretty easily, right? But with D Hop, with Trace McSorley there. Does that affect you at all? Right. Obviously, Pittman also has a quarterback change. So we might, we don't necessarily know what to expect there either. Like, will all of the targets be funneled towards Pittman this week? Will they be distributed a little bit between, Paris Campbell and Alec Pierce? Maybe. I think I'm still going D Hop here. I'm just going to hit the talent button, right? And just go Higgins and D Hop this week.
I think Higgins is obviously an easy one that you're going to pick. You're not choosing between Higgins and someone else. It's going to be between DeAndre Hopkins and Michael Pittman. I kind of want to lean Michael Pittman, but at the same time, I don't. I think that it could be a high-scoring game between the Colts and the Chargers. I don't trust Trace McSorley at quarterback. Like I said, I don't see him throwing for more than 200 yards. So that's going to seriously cap DeAndre Hopkins' value, unless he's catching 80 yards on 10 catches, and then like 14 targets. I just don't see that type of game happening with McSorley quarterback. I think they're going to lean on James Conner. Pittman, with Nick Foles at quarterback, it'll be interesting to see. Do I want to roll the dice on that, especially if I'm in the championship? I'm not sure. Or in the semifinals, I'm not sure if I want to do that. I would say, yeah, Higgins and D-Hop. That's what I would do. I'm tempted to go with Pittman, though. But I don't think he has he's not secure, or he doesn't offer enough upside to make it worth the risk. Where DeAndre Hopkins, he'll be a secure start. He just might not have the upside he usually does.
That is that's my line of thinking as well. And also, over the last 8 weeks, Tampa's given up the 6th most fantasy points to wide receivers on that left side, and the 5th most over the last 4 weeks on the left side. So, and that's where Hopkins runs his routes from. So it's a good matchup for D Hop. So I lean in that direction as well. Fabian Rodriguez is asking, should I take Walker out of my lineup for Zach Moss? Only because Walker ankle and back prone to being an injury, and DJ Dallas is there too. No, I wouldn't. No. I'm starting Kenneth Walker. He did not practice. Wait, did he get limited in yesterday? I don't think he did. I'm going to confirm that real quick. I don't think he got a limited practice in yesterday. Let's see. Confirm.
Yeah, as long as Walker's playing, I'm starting him over Moss.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think it mattered. It wouldn't matter the matchup. I think even if Moss had the best matchup and Walker had the worst matchup, I'd still start Walker. I think, because we don't know what we're going to get with Moss. He did get all those carries at the end of the game, but he didn't do a whole lot with them. He didn't look terribly efficient, and he doesn't have any type of really role in the passing game. Deion Jackson's going to have that locked down. So I don't think there's a whole lot of upside with Moss. He's more of just a solid fill-in play if you missed out on Jonathan Taylor. I think that Walker would be my pick here, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me too. I get it. Moss has a good, it's possible that we see Deion Jackson, taking a bunch of work. What if the Chargers go up in that game, right? With Walker, you don't really have to worry about that. He's going to be the guy. I get the concern over the injuries and stuff. Same thing happened last week though, right? He came back, hardly practiced, played in the game, and he was great.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he got a full practice in, quote unquote, but it was on these short weeks, like, you never know what to expect in terms of practice. He came in, he played a far majority of the snaps. I think it was like 74, 75% of snaps. That's what you want to see against the Chiefs. I think they're resting a lot of their guys, right? They're resting Kenneth Walker. They're resting Noah Fant. They were resting Marquise Goodwin, right? All these guys like hardly practiced this week. So,
Yeah.
but they know that this is a big game against the Chiefs. So, I think they're just resting these guys, and he'll be just fine.
Yep.
DJ Duvernay says Evan Ingram balled out for me last night. Played ETN 2. Only thing I could have wished for was for a tutty. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I felt the same way. He has
Ingram
one
came
decision to
through.
make. Oh man, Evan Ingram, dude.
Yeah.
He has been balling. Do you remember when we were talking about Evan Ingram early on, like before the offseason? And like, we're like, all right, well, Evan Ingram is one of those like late round guys that we could grab.
Yep.
And he could potentially lead, like what I was saying. And I'm gonna find this quote. I was like trying to find it. I will try to find it where, I'm like, oh, Evan Ingram could lead the Jaguars when it's all said and done in targets this year. So I got to find that. I have no idea where he sits in target share. I'm assuming Christian Kirk is way far and ahead the target leader. Actually, like Zay Jones could be there too.
Yeah.
But
I think it's probably pretty even at the top. Not
yeah,
like
I'll check that out. But yeah, no, he's been killing it, man. He's been killing it. So like he's looking like a league winner right now. Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. I know Rich in our league who has Evan Ingram picked him up several weeks ago after his big game. He's texting us last night. He's like, dude, this is amazing. He was so happy that I didn't text him back. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
He listened to this podcast too. So what's up, Rich? I'm very jealous of you having Evan Ingram. So DJ Duvernay needs one decision for a flex spot in full PPR. Hopkins with a third string running back, a quarterback, or but probably the only good weather this weekend. That's true. Or David Montgomery in bad weather. That's a good question. I'm leaving Montgomery here.
I think I'm going to go with Montgomery too. I think his workload is pretty much going to be secure. I think if anyone's going to be doing the scoring, it's going to be on the ground. Justin Fields included. They're not they're pretty short-handed at pass catcher there. And we saw Dave Montgomery score twice last week. I think that another touchdown, is in the cards this week. Even though Khalil Herbert, is he back? Or is he He's
going to be back this week, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not too worried about him at this point. Maybe next week I'll be more worried about it, but I think Dave Montgomery's going to hold on to the workload at least for this week. Next week, check back. We might see different things.
I'm like drinking my coffee like as you're talking, and I'm just curious if everyone is just hearing me slurp down my coffee.
No, I'm not hearing it. At least it's not coming through in my headset. But I'm just sitting here. Yeah, I'm giving my fantasy football.
Let me know.
You're just casually slurping.
Guys, let me know in the comments if you can hear me drink the coffee. Because if not, I'll just mute every time I take a slurp. I don't want to be slurping all up in your ear and all that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going David Montgomery here as well. Like I think he's pretty relatively involved in the passing game, dude. He is like he's very efficient in the passing game. Like he catches a ball that's like 12, 13 yards, like automatic for David Montgomery this year. So like he catches 3 balls, he has 50 yards receiving. Like how does that happen? Every single time. So he's been balling. I like David Montgomery this week. I think he can easily hit 80 scrimmage yards this week and hopefully a touchdown.
Yeah.
Thomas Kennedy is asking, I'm in a PPR league, also 1 point per carry. With Dameon Pierce out, would you start Jamal Williams or Rashad White? This is a good one. PPR league, right, favors Rashad, but the 1 point per carry kind of favors Jamal. But Rashad is going to get some carries too.
Yeah.
And going to get some targets.
This one's really tough.
But then Rashad White has less of a chance to get a touchdown than Jamal Williams does.
But Jamal Williams could easily go like he did last week, 13 for 33 or something quiet like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I guess that's like 16 points in this scoring format. I might kind of lean Jamal here. I think he's a sure thing. Because Rashad White could get 5 carries, have 8 targets, catch 5 passes. That's 10 points. Jamal could get 16
even get 8
carries.
Targets though.
But that's what I mean.
What's more realistic for Rashad? Like, what's more realistic for Rashad projection? I would say,
but
maybe 8 carries, like 4 catches, maybe. That's like 12. Jamal Williams can get 12 carries this week, and he has a higher chance of getting a touchdown, right?
Yeah, that's what I think. I was kind of just driving. I think I lean Jamal
too.
Yeah, I was just kind of driving my point home by saying, with Rashad White, if he got 8 targets, he's not catching all of those, right? I mean, there's a chance, but there's a good chance that he's missing out on a couple of those. So that, PPR value, it's there, but it's not going to be like carries. Carries are a sure thing with Jamal Williams. And if he gets 10, you're fine. So I think we're good.
Okay.
I think I go with Jamal.
So DJ Duvernay is telling me that he did hear me slurp. He said, haha, I did hear a slurp, not gonna lie. And then Chow Bezerra says we cannot.
All right. So conflicting reports.
So conflicting reports, I will mute from here on out. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's draft time. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? I think it's draft time. Guys, take advantage of this, man. You guys are already doing fantasy. Okay. You guys already know what's up. Okay. So we're gonna go into Underdog. We're gonna do a draft. This is a 5-minute draft. This takes no time at all.
Yeah.
But it'll give you an idea of where we're standing on certain players, who we think has the most upside. So if you're on YouTube right now, you can see my screen. We're entering a $5 battle royale draft right now, where we draft 6 players. We're entering the draft right now. I did a draft the other day, and we're gonna post that up right today, a little later today. Basically, I went with a little bit of a stack with the Chiefs Seahawks game, right? And maybe this week we can do some sort of Miami Packers. Like actually, no, Dolphins Packers is on Sunday, so we can't. Never mind.
So we have to leave them out for
but,
this.
I went with guys like, so Gino was my quarterback, right? I had Marquise Goodwin in there. I also had, I think, did I have Juju in there? I might have had Juju in there as well. I don't remember exactly who I had in there, but I had a couple of those guys from that game. So this draft is starting now. We have the 4th spot here. There's only 6 people in this draft, and this is really easy to do. $5 entry. You have a chance to win $200,000 in prizes this week. After Saturday, you can have a lot of money sitting in your Underdog account. And by the way, if you throw your Underdog username in the chat here or into one of the comments on our Underdog post, you will get a chance to win $100 a $100 credit on your Underdog account. Okay, so if you sign up, you have a chance. Just in general, like if you put in your username into any one of our posts, for Underdog posts or here in the YouTube, you're gonna get a chance to win $100 in your Underdog account. So we're doing a $100 giveaway every single week. Okay. And also, if you use the code Upper Hand, by the way, when you do make your first deposit on Underdog, making sure this doesn't start yet. No, if you use the code Upper Hand Pod, you will get a 100% match on your first deposit. So that first deposit will be doubled.
Right. All right. So it looks like it started. As a general rule, me, especially going into this draft and any of my own drafts, I would recommend this too. Just avoid the Browns and Saints game.
Yes.
Don't go picking anybody in that game. There's no upside in that game. So I'll just leave them kind of off the roster at this point.
Justin Jefferson was taken at number 1. Derrick Henry at number 2. Christian McCaffrey still on the board. He might not even be picked because they're going up against Washington. Travis Kelce at 3. I kind of feel like we have to go Travis Kelce here.
Yeah,
just because they're going up against get that done. They're going up against the Seahawks. It's an amazing matchup. It's a high-scoring game. Just go Kelce. Make it simple, right? Mahomes went right after that, which makes sense. Followed by Josh Allen, followed by Stephon Diggs. You guys see how fast this draft is going. Jamar Chase went after that. So now we have Saquon, Amon-Ra, DK Metcalf. We're on the board. Dalvin Cook, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb. These guys are on the board right now. Tony Pollard. Do any of these names stand out to you?
Not really. It's fine. None of them really do.
Who has the most upside to you this week? Does DK Metcalf have some upside for you this week to kind of target that game again?
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah,
okay. We had 3 seconds left anyway. So we have 2 players now again from this Seahawks Chiefs game.
Yeah.
Right. Patrick Mahomes is already taken, right? I think. Yeah, he was already taken. So we can't even grab him if we wanted to. To kind of continue that stack, right? So Joe Burrow was taken right after us. Now, what is the strategy here? So who do we have now? So we have DK Metcalf and we have Travis Kelce, Saquon on the board, Dalvin Cook on the board, AJ Brown. See, AJ Brown, does he have the type of ceiling that he usually does? Right. No. Well, he was already taken, so it doesn't matter. Kind of like CD.
I wonder if we can't get a CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott stack. And
nope, we can't
because he was just taken. He just came off the board. Okay,
should we just go in on Jerick McKinnon now?
I mean, that's gonna be our 3rd player from that same game. You think?
Yeah. Well, listen, if that game goes bananas, like, listen, this is a tournament style, right? You kind of
Yeah,
have to go in, but a lot of people are
you
going to
have to.
go in on this game, you know?
Mhm.
I think Pollard has a very high ceiling,
Yeah,
you
I
know?
think so. It's
So
just
right now,
it's tough.
Jerick McKinnon's on the board. Pollard's on the board. Ramondre's on the board. I don't really want to go Ramondre this week.
No.
We could go Juju and just go crazy in that game. But we already have Kelsey. Um, Higgins is there. Justin Fields.
I kind of
Justin
like
Fields
just
has love upside.
I kind of like Justin Fields as a quarterback, but do you think we need to take him this early, or do we just take him because we have 7 seconds?
We should take him because we have 7 seconds.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I kind of like it. Right now we have no running backs, and maybe we should have took McKinnon here, or yeah, I think McKinnon probably would have been our best bet. But
who's
we could.
left in the running back department?
Okay, let's see. We have Jerick McKinnon, Ramondre Stevenson, J.K. Dobbins, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Walker. So McKinnon came back to us. I think we got to take him.
All right, let's just go crazy on this Chiefs and Seahawks game.
Let's do it, man. We got Justin
Sometimes
Fields,
that's all it
Jerick
takes.
McKinnon, Metcalf, Travis Kelsey. We're going crazy in this game. And listen, if this game blows up, this is how you win, in DFS. Like, you got to target some of these games, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now what do we need? We have a tight end. We need one more running back. I'm sorry. We need one more wide receiver, and one more flex.
Yeah, and a flex. I think we
Okay.
need to look at receivers, I think, at this point, right?
T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin, Gabe Davis, Darius Slayton. I hate all these guys.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, Brandon. I mean, I think Higgins probably has. I think McLaurin has some upside, right? He's probably not going to be super highly drafted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else is left?
I don't love any of these guys, honestly. Higgins was just taken. If McLaurin is taken, I quit. It's over. We lose. I think Marquise Goodwin is still there. He's not going to be drafted in a whole lot of leagues, so he will stand out a little bit. But I would say McLaurin here, and if not McLaurin, I'll go Marquise or DJ Shark.
Is there anything better at running back? I don't look at any of these receivers.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Can you pull up both of them? You know what I'm saying? Just right next to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can do that. J.K. Dobbins, Kamara, Chubb. I'm cool with going Chubb too.
I'm kind of okay with Chubb too because of the weather. It's not going to be a passing day.
Yeah, exactly. So he might have like 150 rushing yards and a touchdown in this one.
Yeah.
Let's go Chubb.
Okay, there you go. A little value right there, maybe.
I like that.
Who knows?
That was good value. So now I think all we have left is
a wide receiver. We need to take because now Chubb is in our flex. Yeah, Chubb is in the flex.
Chubb's in our flex.
So
that's right. So we're on the board right now.
You can't go Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis, Darius Slayton, Amari Cooper, Brandon Ayuk, Marquise Goodwin, KJ Osborne.
I don't like any of them.
I guess we're going Goodwin here.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just quadruple down.
Is it a Goodwin, or we don't have any Seahawks? Oh, actually, we do. We have Metcalf,
DK.
right?
Yeah. Can you go DJ Chark? I don't know.
Too late. I took Marquise Goodwin. It was 0 seconds left. I could have took DJ Chark, but does he have enough upside in that Carolina game? Is Carolina going to make them throw the ball a whole lot? Like, that's my only concern.
That's true.
So, all right. So we went in on that Seahawks Chiefs. So we're done here. So we got that's how quick it was. Like, did it even take 5 minutes? I don't even think it did.
No.
Justin Fields as our quarterback, Jerick McKinnon and Nick Chubb as our running backs, DK Metcalf and Marquise Goodwin as our wide receivers, and Travis Kelsey as our tight end. Awesome. 84.2 projected. Not bad.
Yeah. This is DFS is different. It might look bad. Don't pay attention to that projection. Every week you see the DFS lineup that wins. It has a player that wasn't ranked, like top 10. You're never going to see a team that's like Josh Allen and Justin Jefferson and Travis Kelsey like winning a DFS because they don't all just pop off every single week. So yeah, don't worry about that projection. Sometimes I look at it like, man, I'm projected low. And I end up scoring low sometimes. I don't think I've won anything yet, but we're working on it.
Yeah. All right. Let's get back into some questions. Again, use code UpperhandPod if you're listening to this to get your first deposit doubled on Underdog. It's fun, man. And we got those pick'ems as well. So you can choose a pick'em. You can 20x your money potentially in one entry. So make sure you get that going. All right, let's answer some more questions here. Jordan Spiteri is asking, Sit one between these guys. He's already starting Jefferson. Great. Higgins, Amon-Ra, and Waddle. He has to sit one. This was pretty easy for me. Who are you going with?
Okay, so it's easy for you. I know it's easy to pick who I'm not sitting. I'm putting Waddle in 100%. And for me, it's between Amon-Ra and Higgins. I think I would sit Higgins if it were me. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown this week.
Same.
I thought about it. You know, I'm not sure what the weather's supposed to be like in Carolina. I think it's supposed to be about the same. This is a problem. It's like walking through a minefield with these games because like you forget that the weather's going to be bad and a bunch of them, so you're not sure who you're going to be starting. But I like Amon-Ra anyway, regardless of the weather. Higgins, he's going to be playing behind Jamar Chase, where Amon-Ra is the number one on the team. So, and we know Waddle's going to be in a shootout probably against Green Bay and Miami. Don't have to worry about the weather there. So I think I would sit Higgins in this situation.
Jefferson, Amon-Ra, Waddle, sit Higgins. That's what I would do. Okay, next question. Let's see. Anderson Rodriguez is asking. Oh, we already answered this question.
We did.
Sorry, Anderson. My bad. All right. Fabian's asking. George Kittle or Juwan Johnson with both Chris Olave and Jarvis out. I think this is a trap, Fabian. I think this is a little bit of a trap. You look at what Evan Ingram did last night, and you're like, man, like he got it done in the bad weather. But the bad weather yesterday was nothing like it's going to be in Cleveland. So I'm still going Kittle here.
Yeah.
A little bit of a tough matchup, but I'm still going Kittle personally.
Yeah, the weather's going to be horrendous. And last time we saw weather like that they're saying is going to be in the Cleveland game was the Patriots-Bills game up in, was it Buffalo? And the wind was up at 30 miles an hour, and they ran the ball like 15,000 times. Like the Patriots exclusively ran the ball and won the game. So
25 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds and wind gusts up to 40 to 50 miles per hour.
Yeah. So not only is there going to be no passing game, there's going to be no kicking game. If you're going to be scoring, it's going to be on the ground. I don't trust any pass catcher in that game.
Chow is asking, you think Dylan could have a good week? I have him at the flex, and I'm hoping he can keep up the production. It depends on your options. I have him as like a flex option this week. So, you have him as your flex, so decent. He has upside, like as we've seen. It's just that his workload hasn't been there. The matchup is okay this week. Will there be some scoring opportunities? Sure. Will Aaron Jones get those opportunities? Maybe. That's the only thing. He's a hit or miss. He's boom bust pretty much right now. It just so happens that he's been booming. That's why we want to start him. But, I'm not super optimistic.
Yeah, I don't trust AJ Dillon in my lineup on a week-to-week basis. But, if he ends up doing well when I put him in, that's pretty much all you can ask for. I think you're pretty much asking for it, though. You know that you're running the risk of having like a 4 or 5 point performance in your lineup when you put him in.
Agreed. Yeah, it's very risky, personally. But if you have no other options, he's your best option. Yeah, go for it.
Right.
Michael's asking, can you rank Raheem Mostert, Dylan, and Rashad this week? Sure. Raheem, Rashad, Dylan.
Yeah, I think that's the way I would rank it too. It's kind of close with the way Dylan and Rashad have been playing as of late, but Rashad White still has that upside, like we said. And I'm expecting the Packers game to kind of be pass heavy.
You know what? I'm going to switch that. I'm going to go Dylan over Rashad because he has more upside. I'm going to lean that way, I think. Just because, they've been using him near the goal line, right? The offense has gotten a little bit better. They've been depending on the running backs a little bit.
Right.
And Rashad White, he's just kind of like that number 2 running back behind Leonard Fournette right now, where is he going to get goal line opportunities? I don't know. Like his upside is a little bit limited, I would say.
Yeah.
If you want a high floor player, I think Rashad White's the higher floor player. Dylan's the higher upside player. That's how I would handle it.
Yep.
Let's see. Defense question. Patrick, listen, man, I like you. That's the only reason why I'm answering this question, okay? I don't play defenses. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to help you out. Patrick Salazar is asking, mostly set on my lineup, but is Cincinnati defense a bad play this week? Going up against New England, not much left to choose from. Jets, obviously, you can't choose Jets anymore. New Orleans,
if the Saints
Pittsburgh,
defense is sitting there, I'm taking it. With the weather the way it's supposed to be, I'd play that. I mean, it might not be a high upside, but I think the floor, you can't go wrong. There's not going to be many points in that game, I don't think.
Yeah, the only thing with the Saints is that if the Browns do actually just run the ball, there isn't that much of a chance for like sacks and takeaways and that sort of thing,
Right.
But still, it could be a messy enough game where there could be some turnovers. So I think I lean Saints this week. And Matt Jones, will he turn over the ball and all that? Maybe, but they're more of a controlled offense. I lean the Saints personally.
I just look at in those types of games, and like you said, there might not be sack points coming, but I think you're good for a turnover or two, maybe. I think, but you also don't have to worry about the points scored by the offense, negating points for your defense if that's how your scoring works.
I think the Rams are an option too. At home against Denver, I think
true.
that's an option as well. So higher chance of an interception, I would say probably the Rams game. But yeah, I think I lean New Orleans by a hair.
Right.
Jake is asking, Jake S. Pick 5. Wow, you just want to set, you just want us to set your lineup.
Yeah,
you just want us to set your lineup, Jake. What's up, man? You got to play the game. Like, why should we play? We get all the fun. You play. Come on, Jake.
Well, let's see what we can do.
All right. I almost want to refuse to answer this question, Jake.
It's too much.
CMC. Are you starting CMC, man? Don't ask me those start sit questions off of CMC. Come on, Cook, Stevenson, Tyreek. Oh, okay. I see what's going on here. You're just trying to show off.
This must be a 4-man league.
CMC, Cook, Stevenson, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Chase, pick 5. Come on, Jake. You're killing me over here, Jake. Okay. All right, listen, man. If you're benching CMC, Cook, Stevenson, Tyreek, Amon-Ra, Chase, Watson, bench 1. Jesus Christ.
Get this. These are just his flex options.
Bench Christian Watson.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 of them there, right?
Oh, is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I would leave Stevenson and Watson maybe out, I think.
Stevenson and Watson out. Yeah. There you go. Jesus. I'm messing with you, Jake. Not really. Alex B is asking, would you consider starting Tua over Justin Fields? Looking at the totals in both games makes me want to start Tua. Alex, if you want to start Tua, start Tua. I'm cool with it. Are you cool with it, Zach? If he wants to start Tua?
Yeah, I think with the game script the way it's going to be, I think Tua can have a good game. I think the safer bet for me is Fields just because of the way he produces. It's going to be on the ground, and they're probably going to be running it a lot in that game because of the weather. But that's about it. Like Justin Fields, he could have 100 rush yards on a day and put up an easy 20 points. Where Tua, he's going to have to work for it. He might have to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns, add 200 yards passing to get that 20-point threshold. But I think he can easily do that against the Packers at home. And what should be a shootout, like you said, that total in that game, I think it's okay. You can start Tua over Fields if you want. Fields hasn't had an off day yet. So, maybe he's due for one.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, where do I have him ranked? I think I have him ranked. Yeah, I have him ranked QB 4 and 5. So okay. Fields was at 4, Tua was at 5. So, yes. The answer is yes. Would I consider it? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Let's see. Cooper, Jason M is asking, Cooper or Shark this week? DJ Shark.
I'm assuming this is Amari Cooper. I'm going to say Amari Shark. Cooper. Yeah.
Shark.
Don't I think that
start anyone in that any receivers in that game.
Yeah.
Fabian, thanks for putting in your underdog username in there. My first deposit was definitely because of you, fam. Got to roll with you the rest of the way. Appreciate you. Juan, guys, I need a wide receiver sleeper. Ooh,
a sleeper.
I like it. Okay. I don't even know if Marquise Goodwin is considered a sleeper at this point. Like, people kind of know about him, but if he's available on your league, I think he would be the number 1 guy I'll plug in at wide receiver, who might be available on your waiver wire. Out of the Giants wide receivers intrigue me a little bit, right? If you had to take a shot, right? Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Richie James, are you taking a shot? And Darius Slayton could be rostered potentially, in some leagues. So I would assume you would consider Darius Slayton first, right? Out of all those options.
Yeah, because he's their de facto number 1, and he's had some solid days. So I think that would be in a matchup against the Vikings. That's an almost a slam dunk if you're picking him up off the waiver wire and you don't have anybody better on your bench.
I think Hodgins, if you're in a deep league one, I think Isaiah Hodgins, he has the best matchup of all of the Giants wide receivers this week on that left side, and that's where he's been lining up over the last few weeks. So
Right.
he's somebody who he had two games with 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks. So he's somebody that you could potentially pick up in a deep league. Who else? I'm thinking about.
Marquise Goodwin was the name that popped into my head.
Yeah.
Immediately, but
Romeo Dubs might be available in your league going up against Miami, right? He didn't run a whole lot of routes last week, but he got targeted at a 50% target rate on a per route basis. So he's somebody that you could potentially pick up and plug in against Miami. I think that's a decent option this week.
Yeah, I like that one. Just someone who's been getting it done recently, and this might just be me being a Cowboys fan, but Noah Brown, he's been quietly getting it done. I doubt he's rostered anywhere. He's getting some targets, and Dallas' situation outside CeeDee Lamb at receiver, not so good. So you could throw a dart, I think, in the matchup against the Eagles. It's probably going to be high scoring. I trust Gardner Minshew to keep it at least close. So I think that he could be a play too.
Seawalk is asking Danny Dimes or Tom Brady this week. Who are you going with, Zach?
This is tough.
That's why I gave it to you.
Yeah. So Danny Dimes, we talked about him. He's a really safe floor play, but the Buccaneers have a good matchup against the Cardinals. Yeah. So do you want to play the matchup or do you want to play the legs of Daniel Jones? I think I would go with Daniel Jones here still. I think there's a little bit more upside, even though they had a better game last week. I don't trust the Buccaneers offense yet. I have to see more. He hasn't been playing fantastically. He's had a nice floor for you, but I think in the matchup against Minnesota, believe it or not, can't believe I'm saying it, Danny Dimes might have a little bit more upside. So I would go Daniel Jones.
I'm going Brady.
All right.
I'm going Brady here.
No,
I think his receivers have decent matchups. Godwin, should be fine this week. Like Tom Brady's been getting it done for the most part. Everything's on his shoulders. And because of that, he's been putting up decent floor for you every week. So the matchup is good against Arizona. So I think I lean Brady here. So Seawalk. Good luck. Good luck choosing between me and Zach.
Look at what Seawalk has me doing. Defending Daniel Jones. Like
Seawalk, thank you for that. I appreciate it, man.
Right, we'll have to come back to that. Just that start sit next week and see who scored more points.
I'm with you. I actually moved Daniel Jones down in my rankings. If I moved him down to 16 this week.
Right.
So I have Aaron. So at my top 10 to 15 is Aaron Jones, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Gardner Minshew, Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff, and then Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
So I moved him down after our show on Wednesday. Orlando Lamar is asking Alvin Kamara or Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going Stevenson, man. Stevenson's been getting it done every single week. I know Alvin Kamara, he has that potential to get a bunch of rushing yards in this game, with that game being, a very, very windy game. They're going to depend on the ground game. But, he hasn't done anything recently that would really, cement, him being a start over Stevenson right now.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm going Stevenson pretty easily on this one.
Stevenson's been matchup proof. Alvin Kamara, not so much. It doesn't matter the matchup. He could go on or off anytime. So I think that, I'd go Stevenson here too.
We're going to get to a few more questions. Max Gouger, I think. Max, if I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry. Cade Otton or Goddard and Miles Sanders, or would you pick one of the Colts running backs for the flex? I think you're asking this question because you're not sure if you want to double down on the Eagles offense. Mm-hmm. Right? Is that what you're getting out of this, Zach?
That's
right?
kind of what I'm seeing too.
Okay, cool.
That was the first thing that kind of stuck out to me. I was like, oh, I'm going to pick Goddard and Sanders, but I'm like, wait.
That's right. But I would still do that though. I wouldn't reach too deep to get Cade Otton. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't reach too deep. I would go Miles Sanders and Goddard here pretty easily.
Yes, Jalen Hurts isn't playing, but no, that doesn't mean the rest of the team is going to be bad. Right. I think that Gardner Minshew's more than serviceable. He can get it done. You don't have to worry about them not producing on offense this week.
Exactly. MC Joel's asking Minshew or Sam Darnold. Minshew pretty easily for me.
Yeah, I'm going Minshew, not just because I think he's on a better team, but also because the intrigue. We don't know what we're going to see there. I think as long as he's efficient, just like Brock Purdy is in San Francisco's system, he'll be just fine. So I like Minshew.
Agreed. Or Kenny Pickett. Yeah, Kenny Pickett's not even close either. It's pronounced Kyle. I'm from Brazil. So remember before I said Chao Bezerra? It's
Right.
actually
Yeah.
pronounced Kyle or Kai. Kyle?
Is
Kyle?
it Kyle?
Kyle. He says
Kyle?
it's pronounced kind
Maybe.
of like Kyle. Kyle, yeah. He's from Brazil. Well, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, Kyle. I'll try to remember that. I'll try to remember that. I have like 4 friends named Kyle. So like it won't be too hard for me to remember you. Appreciate you, man. Orlando, Gino is back. Quarterback, Gino or Daniel Jones? Gino pretty easily for me
Yep.
here.
Gino.
Let's see. Tennessee defense or Dallas defense this year. I rode Dallas all year, but half of my players are from Philly. So I can understand that situation. You know what, man? I've actually got this question earlier this week, and I've actually went Tennessee this week.
Yeah. The way Dallas' defense has been playing the last few weeks is not good. So I
But
would
also going up against Philly, you know, they have a good offensive line. Will they get to the quarterback as much this week?
right.
You know, like that's my concern. You're right. It's just like they're going up against a good offense, even with Gardner Minshew and a good offensive line.
And they've cooled off. They have, I think, 1 sack in the past 2 weeks. It's really bad. So I would say, yeah, maybe start Tennessee. Even though the offense might not be doing much to pull away from Houston, that means there's going to be no garbage time for them to just let off the gas on defense. So, yeah, I would go with Tennessee this week.
Seawalk is asking, flex 1, Marquise Goodwin, Cam Akers, Hollywood Brown, Traylon Burks, or Zach Moss? That's a good question. I'm going to take Burks and Akers off the table. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So between Goodwin, Hollywood, and Moss. So I'm in a league where I have to start. I have to choose between Goodwin and Hollywood, and right now I have Goodwin in.
Yeah.
And you know, I've kind of so in yesterday's episode we were talking a lot of shit about Hollywood. This week, but Hollywood has. I was looking into it a little bit more, and the matchup against Tampa Bay is actually pretty good out of the slot. He's their new slot receiver right now, with Rondale Moore out. So this is a situation where I'm like, all right, well, you know, do I go with the talent with a bad quarterback, or do I go with the good quarterback and a mediocre talent who has upside? So I'm going with the mediocre talent who has good upside, and I'm going to go with Goodwin this week in that matchup between him and Hollywood. Would you agree with that?
I like Goodwin too. And like I said, if it wasn't against the Chiefs and the Seahawks didn't have like their playoff hopes pretty much on the line, then maybe I'll go Hollywood. But Hollywood also has that backup quarterback that I don't like. So I think I'm going to
But what about Goodwin and Moss now? Right? Like I feel like that is closer. So we eliminated Hollywood now, and we have Goodwin and Moss, you know, who could potentially going up against the Chargers, really, really good matchup, right? If the Colts can stay in this game, you know, Moss can potentially get 15 to 20 carries against a bad rushing defense. So who do you like between those two guys?
I still kind of like Goodwin.
Okay.
I don't think Moss is a sure bet. Even if he gets 15 to 20 carries, that could easily turn into just 60 or 70 yards.
Mhm.
And I know it's a good matchup, but I like just the game script that I'm anticipating for Chiefs, Seahawks, Goodwin.
Yeah.
I think he has a good chance to score, like, you know, if he picks up a 30-yard touchdown and complements that with like 2 or 3 more catches, 40-some yards, you know, you're sitting pretty. 6 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown. I'll take that any day in flex.
Yeah, especially in PPR. Okay. Yeah. I hear that. Who are you starting between Herbert and Fields this week?
Fields. And it's not really close. You know, Herbert, he looked like he was going to take advantage of that good stretch of games that he's had these past few weeks, but over the past 2 weeks, he hasn't capitalized.
This is the last question of the episode. Appreciate you, Robert. Mostert or Marquise Goodwin? I need some upside after Garrett Wilson wet the bed last night.
That wasn't a wedding.
This is a good question. I think he was trying to be nice. Okay. I think this is a good question because I think both of these guys have a lot of upside this week because Mostert also has a very good matchup against the Packers. In a PPR, I think Goodwin might have a little bit more upside. If this was standard or half point PPR, maybe I'll lean Mostert. But Jeff Wilson, it looks like he's going to be back this week. He did practice. So let me just take a quick look at that. I think he practiced yesterday. He's been limited at practice this entire week. I think he has one more practice today because they play on Sunday. So we'll see what's going on there. Like, will Jeff Wilson get a full practice in? If not, I think if Jeff Wilson plays, like, I think the upside from Mostert is a little limited, right? So how about this? How about we make it simple? Well, it might not be simple because the Seahawks play on Saturday, right? So
Yes.
how about this? If we know that Jeff Wilson's out by the time that Goodwin plays, you play Goodwin. I'm sorry, you play Jeff Wilson. If we don't know if Jeff Wilson's going to be, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I'm sorry. How about I start over? Let's start over, okay? If we don't know that Jeff Wilson is going to be out by the time the Seahawks play on Saturday, then just roll with Goodwin. If Jeff Wilson's out and we know that by the time the Seahawks play, just play Mostert for upside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that breaks down pretty well.
Did I do that right this time?
Yeah, no, you got it. The other thing for me, just me personally, is in a flex. I'm assuming we're going flex because he's talking about a running back or a receiver. I kind of lean towards a receiver, especially in PPR, because I figure they're going to get catches. Where Mostert, he hasn't been super involved in the passing game. I think it's going to be a passing type of day. Obviously in a shootout between Aaron Rodgers to Packers, Dolphins. So I would maybe lean Goodwin.
And is this only in a full PPR?
Yeah, full PPR. Otherwise,
in full PPR, you're going to Goodwin no matter what, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I think that makes sense. MC Joel, this is a good way to wrap it up. MC Joel saying, how much you have helped me this year is crazy. I'm in the semis just because of you. Well, MC, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you. And listen, it's not because of me. It's not because of Zach. Okay. You guys listen, you guys apply what you're listening to your lineups, and you're making decisions yourself. So at the end of the day, it's you guys. You're just kind of getting a little bit of a helping hand. And we, appreciate you guys as always. Now, just want to let you guys know this is the last episode of the week. Next week is the last week of the fantasy season. Okay. So just want to say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy the holidays and enjoy some time with your family. We will this weekend for sure. Zach has some plans. I have some plans with my family as well. So we appreciate you guys. We are very thankful for you guys. So just enjoy your time. Take it easy. We'll see you on Monday, and good luck. Hopefully you make it to the finals. Bye-bye.